Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon. Choose whatever you have whenever you watch this video, my dear students of Global English 9, students of level A. Today we are getting to a new unit 14, which is considered to be running towards the end of the semester. Cultures and Customs is the title for our new unit, and through reading this through reading this title, you would know about what will come inside the content. So when you read it, you will just think of the customs and cultures throughout the world in different countries. Think about the cultures and customs in Saudi Arabia. Think about the customs and traditions in other Arab countries, even in European countries. Do they look like the same? Do they have the same thing? Do they have things in common? And what are the different things inside each culture from other ones? The first lesson is entitled, What's in a Name? What's in a name? So when you ask someone about his name, you get to know him, you say, what's your name? But this is a little bit different, because names have significance. Names have significance. If you look at here, the first bullet is, which are the most popular names for people of your age? Think about the most popular names in your culture and the people at your age. Let's say Muhammad, Mahmoud, Abdul Aziz, Abdullah, and more to go and mention. So names, as I told you, have significance, especially in their meanings. If you read this piece of information here, you talk about Japanese name, which is Akira. This means bright and intelligent. And also if we take Amir, as in the one given here in the notice, it means prince in English. So each name has a significance and a meaning. Now, if we look at the three given parts in the reading here, we have three different countries to refer to three different traditions. Those traditions are used to refer for the names and how they name their babies or their children. The first one is an African country called Kenya. He's telling you that the first birth or birth name of a child born to Swahili speakers, because the original language, or let's say the mother tongue there, is called Swahili. So the Swahili speakers is chosen by an elderly relative, maybe the grandparent, maybe the grandfather, grandmother, or some elderly relative in the family. So he chooses the name for the baby. It usually describes the baby's appearance, how he looks. And an example given here is Haider, or Haider as we say in Arabic, which means strong and stout. So this is one thing. In Nigeria, this is another African country, and it gives you another example. It is of different communities. If you read more, you will find that Nigeria has tribes. Each tribe has its own tradition and custom for this. So the community of Yoruba in Nigeria, they use the circumstances in which the baby is born, and they name him after that thing. Like if he's born in rainy weather, it has some significant name, as an example. Maybe a boy born in a shiny day, so it has another name, and it goes on. Also in Greece, and we talked about Greece before, in Europe, one of the countries that has good reputation of their culture and the places even you can first there as a tourist. They have their own tradition in giving names. So the Greek families, they name the first boy in a family after his paternal grandfather. What do I mean by paternal grandfather? Yes, it's the grandfather of your father. And the first girl is named after her maternal grandmother. So what do I mean by maternal grandmother? Yes, the grandmother of your mother. So this is the tradition they are following. So let's say that you are Ahmed and your grandfather is Ahmed from your father's side. So you will be named after your grandfather if you are in Greece. Because each of us has, yes, two grandparents, paternal and maternal, but you will be named after your father's father. Let's say this, as simple as that. I want you to read the questions here in number 2 and relate them to the reading passage in number 1 in 2 minutes, and then you might find the answers. Thank you, everyone. If you read the 2 questions here, they are related to each other about giving names. But the most important one for me is that question number 2, which is more of an equation. Now let's read it together and think of the answer. Demetrius is Greek, so it comes from Greece. Thank you. He has a brother, Adonis, and 2 sisters, Elena and Reina. So this is the family. Each of them have a son. So the 2 boys and the 2 girls, each of them has got a son. All 4 boys are called Gorgias. Can you explain why, according to their traditions? Yes, true. So their father is mainly named Gorgias, so the sons are named after the paternal grandfather. After the paternal grandfather. So this is maybe for the side of his sons. But for the daughters, yes, maybe their father-in-law has the same name, then they're named after their father, or their grandparents from the father's side. Okay, so this was all for the reading part and the vocab related to it. Before I get down to the use of English, I'd take you to the listening part because it has to do with the names thing. Then we get to the use of English. The listening part, we have 2 people, as you can see. Yes, Thomas and Alison. We're going to have, or to listen about their attitudes and their characters giving their names. We have other 3 columns here we're going to use. We have to get the name used at home. Do they call them Thomas or something else? Do they have nicknames? What do I mean by a nickname? Yes, if you have a nickname, so it's a short name that you commonly known with amongst your father, maybe your family, maybe your friends. Like if we say Muhammad, some people call him whatsoever. Ahmed in the family and Abdullah, they call him whatsoever. Also we have reason for this nickname. Why did they choose this nickname for that person? We kindly listen to this, we're going to play it, and then we get the reasons together.
Track 23. What does your name say about you? We talked to people about their names, and this is what they told us. Hi, what's your name? My name's Thomas. Does everyone call you Thomas? Or that's what my parents and everyone in my family calls me. Have you got a nickname? Well, I had one when I was about 7 years old, but that was years ago. Fortunately, everyone has forgotten about it now. What was it? Are you going to tell us? It was Spider. Spider? Yes, because I was good at climbing. You know, climbing trees, climbing up the ropes in gym lessons, like Spider-Man. I can understand why you might want to be called Tom rather than Spider. Yes. In fact, someone called out Spider the other day in the middle of town. I just ignored them. Hello, what's your name?
My name's Alison.
Alison? That's a nice name. Are you called Ali for short?
Yes, that's what my mum and dad call me.
Do your friends call you Ali or Alison?
Oh no, they never call me Alison.
What do they call you?
Well, they call me Tails.
Tails? Why's that?
Well, you see, when I was at primary for a nickname?
Yes.
Mine was Tails because my surname is Taylor.
Do you spell that T-A-L-E-S, like in stories?
No. For some reason, my friends write T-A-I-L-S when they send me a card or a message. Don't ask me why.
Do you mind people calling you Tails?
No, I don't mind at all. When one of my friends calls me Alison, I think, who are they talking to?
Thank you, everyone. So, as you can see, the name used at home for Thomas is, yes, the same as this, Thomas. And his nickname is the spider or spider whatsoever. And the reason for this nickname that he was good at climbing things. And Alison has another name to be called at home, which is merely not the same nickname. She's called Ali at home. But what do they call her as a nickname? Try to remember. Yes, Tails, thank you. And the reason for the nickname, she has mentioned many reasons, because some of her friends can write T-A-L-E-S, and for other reasons they write T-A-I-L-S. So it has two reasons for this. So if you have any concern about this listening part, you can contact me through the website and I can send you the audio file. Now, getting back to the use of English part, which is something we talked about before. If you remember this sentence, like babies who are born in Yoruba community. If you remember, we call this a relative clause, who are born. Now, imagine that you omit who, and consequently, you are going to omit are. So we will say, babies born in the Yoruba community. Does it make sense? Yes, and this is what I call participle clause. This is born. I take this past participle form of the verb and I consider it a whole clause. So it becomes like that. Babies born in the Yoruba community, blah, blah, blah. Now also we have another one, a tradition which is followed by many families. So you're going to omit which, then is, and you say a tradition followed by many families. And this is more common in written language, rather than spoken English, and makes it easier for you when you come to write. So at the end of the day, we come to the question number 4, and then we use it here, the given choices. Of course, you're going to change them into participles so that they fit into the spaces. And for the first one, the boys born on Monday are called Quada. Number 2, popular names to children in the UK 50 years ago, given. Number 3, a slice of meat between 2 slices of bread is a popular snack, given, thank you, or served, thank you, served to the Earl of Sandwich. Also 4, the description Scrooge in one of the stories for Charles Dickens, which is someone who was trying to learn how to spend more. He's a little bit miser. Is used to someone who doesn't like spending their money. So this is the meaning of Scrooge. It was used in one of the stories by Charles Dickens, Christmas Carol. So the description taken from, thank you. And number 5, the fabric denim to make jeans, used, thank you. That was all for today's lesson. If you have any concerns, I'll be waiting for your questions on the website. Thank you and see you soon.